So for step one, the rear differential. Well, we've got quite a few parts for this step. So we've got to grab all the little bevel gears. We've got the star shaft, these bevel gears here. We've got washers. They've all got to go into the differential gear case, which you can see here. And then we put another bevel washer, and then we have this cap piece and 3 screws to put the differential all together. But we're also going to be working on the propeller joint in this step as well. So we've got these parts that we have to collect as well. So I've already gone ahead and done that. So there's your differential gear house. There's the cap piece. We've got bevel gears. And then here is the main hardware, the screws, the washers. Now the plastic bearings are getting replaced with the full ball bearings for this kit. We've got the E-ring, large bevel gear, small bevel gear, star shaft, and of course the propeller joint. So I'll set this up and we'll put the differential together. So first off, let's grab our differential gear case. You can see that we have a washer, which is going to need to be greased up, so we'll go ahead and do that. Now, I have an older ceramic grease. This is literally the same tube that comes with the Manta Ray, so I'm just going to use this one for now, and we're just going to grease this washer up. I'm going to grease it up on both sides. Bit messy because I squeezed too much out of it initially, but that's okay. And that is going to go down there at the bottom, just like that. And you can see that the next thing is we've got one of these, which is our, our large bevel gears. That is going to be dropped into place. I've already greased that side of the ring, so we're going to put that down there. And it shows that we need to grease that up. So that's what we'll do. And apparently I'm going to have to squeeze a bit more out of that. There we go. Trying to conserve, save as much of this as I can. I could use a new tube, but I'm not going to. And we'll put this all the way around. Just like that. That's good. And that's okay because we're also going to do the little bevel gears as well, because you can see how that's going to go. We've got to get that onto the star shaft. So I'm going to grab the star shaft. And we're going to grease up these. Now I'm going to slide 2 of these on so I can hold that a lot easier. And we're going to squeeze some more grease onto that shaft. Slide that over top. Now you can see that they're showing you putting a little bit of grease here, so I will. And I'm not going crazy. I'm just getting enough on the top there, a little bit there. One last one to go. Whoops. Let's get that on there. And squeeze a little bit onto there as well. Now, we're going to take this, and that is going to slide into those 3 holes that you see. And that's going to drop into place. Now, I'm just going to wipe my hands here. Now, we obviously have to grease up the little bevel gears themselves. And I think what I'll do is let's just squeeze a little bit onto there, a little bit onto there, a little bit onto there, and then I can turn it, because what I find this is easier is that when you're doing this, when you put the grease onto the little ones, it's also moving the bevel gears onto the bigger bevel gear at the bottom, which means we're actually nicely getting enough grease on everything, and you can kind of see that it's actually getting coverage all the way around. So I'm good with that because I'm not going to go crazy here. So now that we've got this all greased up, we need to work on this other side. Now, there's enough grease down there that I don't really have to put any on here because it's kind of already been done. But I'm just going to put a little dollop here and there on either side and then drop that down on top of that. Now, we've got to grease this up because we've got the larger washer. So I'm just going to put a little bit here. Put a little bit all the way around. That's good for me. Grab the washer. So we're going to slide that over there, put it down, and I'm going to grease up the top because that's what's going to rest against the top piece that we have to screw down. So that's how that would ultimately look. And this now has to slide down over top of those 3 holes. These are where the screws are going to go, but you can see that there are 3 prongs, you could say, that are going to go over this. Just like that. And now we've got the 3 screws over here that we need to screw into the holes themselves. Now I've pulled out my small screwdriver from the Tamiya screwdriver set. Now, one of the things that I do is I go around, I don't screw any one screw down all the way until all the others are in, so that I get a sense of any either movement or binding, etc., just so I know that all 3 screws actually are going to go in properly. And it's feeling pretty good, so I will screw this one in a little further. Same with that one. And again with this one. And since we're almost at the end here, I'm just going to screw this one all the way down now. Now, one of the things you're going to want to make sure of is do not over tighten this. They're very small screws. So depending on your screwdriver, if you over tighten, you could end up stripping this out. So you don't want to do that. So I just want to make sure that they go in nice and tight, but they're not too tight. So for example, if I was to use this and, you know, put that, so I'm using the entire screwdriver, now there's way too much leverage on this. I could end up stripping this out because I can over tighten. So I won't use that. I'll only use the screwdriver itself because I can get a firm grip on it and can tell that it's not you're not over tightening the screws. Perfect. Okay, so there is our rear differential complete. So now we've got to move on to this propeller joint. So if we look at how this is all going to go, here's our propeller joint. They're showing you greasing it up, which I think I'm not going to do because I'm using the ball bearing. So I don't need to grease this up because what they're showing you is the plastic bushing. So what we're going to do here is seeing how this is all going to go, I think we're going to get our E-clip and put that in place first, because you can see that once the clip is in place, this goes over top of that, then the little one, bearing, and on the other side it's the cap. So if you look at how this is going to go, there is the side that has the slot, which you see over on that side. And you can see that the E-clip is going into this side right here. So if we put that on there for a second, and I'll use my finger here in a second to hold it up, just like that. Now I'll grab the pliers. Make sure that that's sitting correctly, which it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the ball bearing, so this is the 1150 there. We have this cap piece which is going to slide over there, and you can see that it pops into place once you push that over top. So it'll be like this, and you'll hear the click. I don't know if you were able to hear that or not, but that's just going to sit there like that. That's on nice and firm. And then you can see on this side, this G1 has to fit over top of that so that it looks like that. And of course you can see that the E clip is stopping it from going any farther. And then you have the 850, either the metal bushing in the kit, or if you replace it with the ball bearing. And yes, it is correct that there's a little bit open. You'll notice it doesn't close it all the way. So that bearing is designed to sit just like that. So that is our propeller joint piece ready to go too. So there we've got our differential, and there is our propeller joint. So one last thing I like to do before we completely finish this step is to check and make sure that the differential actually has been put together properly. So what I like to do is grab the gear joints that we know are going to go into this differential at a later step, and I'll put them in. Doesn't matter which way for now, because all we're doing is trying to test out the differential. Obviously, if I hold this like this and spin, it's spinning the cups in one direction. I turn it, it's spinning the cups in the other direction. It doesn't really make any difference. It doesn't matter. But where you're really going to notice it is if I grab this one, can I spin this side? So this is, in one, it's not moving, but I can spin the other side. If I can hold this one, it's obviously going to spin the other side. But the point is, I can tell that the differential has been put together correctly. It's nice and smooth. So I know that we're not going to have any issues later on when this is installed. We know it works. So, these I'm just going to throw back in the bag here. We don't need them until the later step, but we know that that differential has been put together properly. So now we are definitely finished with step 1. So we can move on to step 2, and we're going to attach the rear differential. So for step 2, attaching the rear differential, well, you can see that we've got B7, which is the rear gearbox housing. We're going to slide the differential into that using 2 bearings on either side, and then we have B4 for the end cap, and then it's going to be screwed down by these 4 screws. But there's also B1 that needs to be attached with another one of the screws. So there are the screws, there are the 2 ball bearings, and there is our gear housing, that piece here, this B1, and then the cap at the end. So I'll set this up and we'll put it together. So I think to start with, let's get this B1 piece onto this housing. So you can see the way this is designed, those 2 pieces are going to fit over top of that, and from the underside we've got a screw that's going to go basically right there in the middle, just like that. And if I just hold that, you can see that that's going to get screwed into there, and those 2 pieces were going to fit on either side. Now if I just start this, let's see what the easiest way to do this would be. Yeah, if I do it that way, that should do it. Because we don't want to screw it down too far, because obviously those 2 plastic parts need to fit into the hole. So maybe if I do it this way. Nope. Well, I'm going to hold it this way for now. I need something with a bit of leverage to be able to hold that in place. Well, let's use... just my fingers are sliding all over the place. I need something easier to hold. That'll do it. I'm just making sure that those 2 protruding bits are actually in the holes, which they are. So we'll continue screwing this down. And because we're going from hard plastic to hard plastic, as soon as you get to the end, you'll know you're at the end. It can't go any farther. You don't have to worry about stripping anything out. Nope, that's solid. So ultimately, that's what that's going to look like. Now you can see the way that this is done. We've got to slide this into this end, but you'll notice that where the gear is, that's at the top. So I mean, You can see we put that piece on. We know we're holding it this way. So we know that the differential has to fit in there on either side. You can also see that they're showing you that it needs to be greased up. So I think what I'll do is I will grease it up here before I put it in. So I'm gonna just run this over. Now I forgot to mention, but you probably realized it, I switched over to the grease that came with the Manta Ray. I'm not using the one that from the last kit because it ran out. So we're back to this, and I'm just going to put a bit of grease everywhere along here, and I'm happy with that. I'm not going crazy, but I'm putting on enough that it'll all blend together once it's working with the other gears. So what do? We're going to slide that down there. We've got a ball bearing that needs to slide in at this side, and we've got a ball bearing that needs to slide in at this side, just like that. So there's our bearings and our gear. So this is now going to slide over top of that, and you can see that these pieces here are going to go over where the bearing is sitting basically. So you can see that by putting that over top, just like that, you can see how that's going to sit. So we've got the 4 screws that are going to go in all the way around. So let's do that. And again, I'm going to go all the way around first before tightening any of the screws, so that I know and can make sure that they're all going in properly and nothing is binding. And that feels pretty good. And again, we're going from hard plastic to hard plastic. So as soon as you get to the end, you're going to know, because the screw will just stop. Yeah, I can't screw that in any farther than it is. I'm in one last. Yep. And I'll try one last thing at this end just to do a test. Yes. So there we go. There is our differential inside of here. And again, if you wanted to do sort of a test just to make sure that everything is okay, that the gear itself isn't binding with anything, you can put these gear joints back in and turn them, and you can see the gear housing, differential gear housing, is moving freely. And if I put my finger on one of the joints and spin, you'll see one side is locked, the other is moving. So everything's moving nice and smooth. So again, I'll take those out. We don't need them in right now. So that means that step 2 is complete. Very, very cool. So now we're going to move on to step 3, and we're going to attach the pinion gear.